the forecast, good vibes to be broadcast. So come and chill with me as we let the bad vibes blow past. This is Shout Out Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Shout Out Podcast. Obviously, I want to start by apologizing about last Sunday, and unfortunately, we couldn't air an episode. And I mentioned this on my social media that, although I love the podcast and I'm passionate about it, but unfortunately, or realistically speaking, there's like personal obligations and other professional obligations that I have to attend to as well. So there will be some times when we might not be able to come out, with the weekly episode, but I'm sure you guys will understand, and I just wanted to let you guys know about that. But we're back with a special episode with a special guest. We have yet another strong woman and a lady on the podcast, and a mother of three. She's a fitness enthusiast, and most importantly, she's the owner and the principal cum administrator of a reputed institution, Hope Academy. Welcome, Sashila. Thank you for hopping on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Asalie, for having me. Yeah.
Yes, I want to start off directly with this. The recent on Instagram you were posting about your run, the Big Slam.
Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about that and the run you just completed yesterday also.
Well, it's a run organized by the Sai Runs. So they asked if we could hop on. It's a virtual run.
Okay.
So I signed up for 4 runs. So the first one was an International Daughters Day, which I finished. And then the second one was, Plogging Day. And then, the third one was the International Plogging Day. Then the second one, now I'm like forgetting, which one was it? Okay, anyway, 3 runs completed.
Yeah. And you just completed your third one yesterday.
Third one yesterday, yeah. So yesterday's one was International Plogging Day.
Yes.
Yeah, just kind of like, motivating myself because it's a virtual run.
Yeah.
Nobody is there to watch you.
Right.
But it's just you yourself who pushes.
Correct.
And tomorrow I have another one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Big Slam. And it's basically running for a cause, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no small achievement. These are all 5-kilometer runs, right?
5-kilometer runs. The last one, I managed to finish it in 32 minutes.
Wow.
The first 2 was 33 point something. But yeah, I feel good.
Yeah. That's nice. That's commendable actually. What's the furthest you've pushed yourself like with running, the distance wise?
Distance wise, I think 8 kilometers, but that was not a competition or anything.
Yeah, just a personal.
8 kilometers.
Okay. Before we start, we'll just get the shout outs out of the way.
Yeah.
I'll start and then you can go after that.
Okay, yeah.
So this episode's shout out goes out to Quirky Qrafts. Quirky Qrafts is actually owned by my sister Asano, my wife Asibu, and my younger sister Aviza. And they're a designs and crafts company. They produce and design and produce all sorts of crafts, especially for events and weddings and such. So please do check them out. They're very creative and great for birthdays and weddings and such.
Okay, my shout out would be for Keystone Education Society. They are an NGO, and they are a group of people who are trying to advocate inclusive education in schools as well as other institutions. So they deal with children with differently abled children, as well as children who have different educational needs. So my shout out goes to them.
That's nice. We're going to talk about that a little later, but let's save that for that discussion. Let's start off with the pandemic also.
Okay.
The usual question. Yeah. So personal and professional, the challenges that you faced and how it's treated you so far.
Okay. Pandemic has, in the beginning, it was not easy at all.
Right.
Suddenly there was a lockdown and the regular things came to a halt. And also, just feeling a little bit of depression, depressed, you're stuck in your own house,
right.
And then a working woman, so every day going to work, suddenly you have nothing much to do.
Yes.
So that was a kind of a depressing moment. But then at that point of time, nothing much to do in life. Everyone recommending this and that. So I totally got hooked to K-drama. I was like sleeping at 4 in the morning and getting up, 10 because nothing much to do.
Right.
Then the K-drama addiction was kind of like getting on. So I said, no, nothing doing. I have to put a stop to this.
Right.
So then I piled on my weight. Became, touched 62 kilos, I think. So I said, nothing doing. That's when I decided that I will go back to how I was. And that's how, I started running. And so managed to bring it back again. And during that process, I think, the pandemic has been good for me also personally. Because, of course, I'm always with my kids. My children are always there. But personal level also, realized certain things, learned how to drive. I never could drive. I learned how to drive.
How long did that take you?
Well, thanks for automatic cars.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't really take, it took me a week.
Okay.
So now I'm like
comfortable with it?
Yeah, very comfortable.
Okay.
Then decided nothing doing. I learned how to swim.
Okay.
Bucket list, one by one. And then after that, also managed to climb Mount Jaffo. Random people got together. That was something very interesting. Through WhatsApp, we just connected and climbed Mount Jaffo. That was in January, I think, the coldest.
Okay.
Yeah. And in that process also, I met with an accident, actually. I think while running, I was hit by a bike. And that really gave me a shock. And took I think about a month to heal. But, my 2 sons were with me when I was running. So they had this post-traumatic, disorder.
Experience,
they could not go on the road. In fact, I was the one who was hit and they were really traumatized by it. But I told them, no, we have to get out of it. So, took them running again. Of course, I'm a little scared.
Yeah, naturally, obviously.
On the road. But then I try to, mentally tell myself, no, you have to get rid of that fear. And it's only after the accident that I actually learned how to drive also.
Okay.
So, so many things. But those are some of the things that I have achieved during pandemic, I think.
Right. That's quite a lot of things you ticked off, of the bucket list.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say the same for myself, but yeah, that's nice. What about professionally? Because obviously we'll get into your school in detail, but just quickly on the pandemic issue.
Professionally also, I think, despite the fact that we were shut, schools were shut, but then online classes were happening.
Right.
So then everything became very, technology. So technology wise also, we have improved. I cannot say so much for myself, but I know that my teachers have really improved. They've become experts now. And attended a lot of webinars, a lot of online training sessions, so despite the fact that everything was closed, we managed to also gain knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
And learn with the experience, right? Grow with the experience. We'll go all the way back from your childhood. Let's, I asked the guest, take us, but people usually tend to just run through it.
Yeah.
If there are some interesting experiences or, something that sticks with you about your childhood and about growing up, where did you grow up?
Well, born in Mokokchung, but raised up in Kohima. My father is in politics, was in politics. So, he was a minister then. So we were in Kohima. I think I did my early schooling in Kohima, in Little Flower School. Then after that, we were packed off to the boarding school in Shillong. So then it was Pine Mount School. So, but my parents, they thought that, with the political situation, very, unstable and all that. And it was affecting our education because we have to go from, if anything happens to the government, it's back to Mokokchung. If anything happens, back to Kohima. And my parents did not want that. So we went off to Shillong. So we were there, I think I was there till my 12th.
In Shillong.
Yeah. Then I was a very quiet child, not very outspoken. I was overweight, quiet child, I should say. Yeah.
Okay.
And not very,
Growing up, what were like some of your interests and passions like?
See, I was never a sports person actually.
Okay.
And it surprises me now also that I was never a sports person, but now I am
Like,
into running and all that.
Like you're very active in that.
So never write off anyone. Yeah. Crafts and interesting. I from a very young age, I think my mother taught me how to knit and sew and all those things. Like, I was interested in those crafts actually, but over the years just died down. Was into painting a little bit, but died down, and now I don't know whether I will revive that or not.
Right. When you were getting a little older, still in school, what were some of the ambitions that were in your head? What were some goals?
Well, see, everyone whoever met me said I will become a good doctor. So I took it upon myself that
You're gonna
doctor,
be
actually, and that's how I did science. Then after getting into 11th science, I just realized, oh my goodness, this is not for me. Maths, I mean, like, they were just flying over my head. So I told my parents, I cannot do this. I'm going to quit. So my father said, if you want to quit, you quit, but you have to do everything on your own. Shifting of the... I managed to do that. So then I shifted to the
this was in
humanities.
Shillong?
Humanities, and I passed humanities. Then after that, doctor went out of the way.
Right.
Then after that, college days, everyone has this. I mean, like, we were so focused on the administrative service and everything, like, that was it. So that was there in my mind. Maybe I would try for the civil services. Came to Delhi, did my master's there, and then before I could get seriously into the civil service, studying for the civil service exams, all that, my parents called me back. So like a very obedient daughter, I came back home to a job waiting for me, which we will, I think.
But let's get into that, like, because so like that like how you're saying, even that civil services was not actually your like a passion, but you were just like doing it because it was just happening, right? And all of a sudden you're called back home with a job waiting for you. Tell us about that. I want to hear a little more about it.
So going to get seriously into the civil service thing, then parents called me back. My father was the then Minister for Information and Public Relations. So there was a job opening for an information officer. So I came back and very reluctant because I really did not want. And especially, I don't know, because we were brought up with such, my parents were very strict with being honest and to get into that job without going through anything, that was, at the back of my mind actually. And my parents also said, no, you just work, and then when the NPSC happens, then you can give the exam and then you can be regularized or whatever. But I think after firstly reluctant to join the government service, and secondly, the job was the most, I don't know, for me at least, it was the most boring job. I would just go to office, stare at the walls and, do a little bit of, I don't know what I was even doing. Then
and this was obviously in Kohima.
In Kohima. So, I just want to say that my father being my father, he could have easily regularized me because it was his department. But he was an honest man, and he said, nothing doing, you have to also sit for the exams. So I took that as an opportunity to exit from that government job, like, So
around which year was this? Like when you
this
were...
will be, now I have to really, 99, 2000.
Okay. And straight after that was the school journey, as in like, or how?
Then after that, got married, and also marriage was another reason to leave the job. And came to Dimapur. Then it was only after I gave birth to my second son that I started the school actually.
And which year was this when you started?
2007.
Hope.
I got married in 2002. And Hope birthed in 2007.
I mean, this is gonna be a long talk. Like I told you that
gosh,
like we're gonna talk about this in detail. But as we all know, Hope is now one of the reputed institutions, educational institutions in our state. And a lot of questions I want to ask you, but let's start with how did it actually start? Like the vision.
Yeah.
Did you just suddenly decide like I want to start a school, or how did that process?
My gosh, yeah, it's a long story. Actually.
Yeah, let's go.
When I was in Delhi, doing my masters, and after the masters, the civil service in between, I had a lot of things going through my mind.
Okay.
Like, what should I do? What do I really want? And I had written down in my a small notebook my dream, and surprisingly, it was to open a school.
Okay, so you actually did have that in mind,
but it just died out after that.
Right.
And I even drew the school, the uniform,
right.
the where everything was going to be, and it was written down at that moment of time, packed up, forgotten. So then comes 2006, around 2006, after giving birth to my 2 kids. It was my sister, actually, my younger sister,
Okay.
who kind of for her I was this independent woman, and who is going to achieve many things in life. But when she lives in Jordan, so when she came to meet me, till date she said, you were like this shriveled up flower. Like, she could not imagine that I had reduced myself to that, to what society would want a wife to be. Just everything out, and just so she said, no, this is not right. You need to do something with your life. And for her also, she was flying, actually.
Okay.
She was an air hostess. She had left her job, and because she wanted to start a family, and she had joined an international school there to work as a kindergarten teacher.
Okay.
So she had undergone all the training, and while going through the training, during that whole process of training, she had, if I can do it, my sister can do it. She had that thought. So when she came, she said, no, you have to do something. Why don't you open a small school? I think Nagaland needs a good school, and I will help you. She was very cunning in that. She said, I will come back and I will help you run the school. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, she'll come back. And she brought all the materials for me. So, the thought process started from 2006. And then, mulled with the idea. Then after that, I shared it with my husband. And he said, okay, if you want, you go ahead. Then I shared it with my friends, my 2 very good friends. And I remember Imkong, my friend Imkong, telling me, it's good, but why don't you equip yourself? So there was this Montessori Institute here in Dimapur. So I took a diploma course.
Okay.
While, I was still breastfeeding my son, second child.
School administration or what?
No,
what
just Montessori.
Okay, just Montessori. Yeah.
So that training I took. Then after that, no knowledge of how kindergarten is run, nothing of that sort. But with the help from my sister and all the little training that I got, I went ahead with opening a preschool.
Yeah, it was just a preschool in the beginning, right?
In 2007. Initially, I had around 6 students. And by the end of the year, I had 18 students.
Okay. So but it was still just preschool.
Yeah,
the
preschool,
first. Okay, but sorry, but just go a little back.
Yeah.
During that period, like how you were saying, like your sister couldn't believe that you had been reduced to what. So in that period of time, you were just being a mother, right?
Yeah.
You weren't doing anything.
Nothing.
You were not ambitious, and you were
ambitious as in like I wanted to do certain things, but motherhood took
everything like your time and
everything. Of course, I did have ideas, going through my mind, all that, but not.
You weren't determined.
Not a school per se, I was determined to do something.
Okay. So anyway, fast forward again back to Hope Academy, and what were some of the the way you're saying it, because even you hadn't gone so far ahead with the planning. You just okay, I'm going to start a preschool, and then it eventually grew into what it is today. But I'm sure back then you would have thought about it a little bit, but never imagined, like, you know,
Never
what it
in
was
my
going to be.
wildest dream
Right,
did I
right.
imagine the school to be like this, because 2007 I opened playgroup and preschool. And I increased one class every year.
Every year, right?
Yeah. And that's why, though we are already 15 years, my first batch of senior secondary will appear only next year in March.
Because they literally started
Yeah.
from the...
Yes, yeah. So it is a very slow and steady, I should say. Many people, said like, no, why don't you open, higher grades? But I said, I want to hold as much only. I don't want the quality going down in any way, and I'm in no hurry. So I will upgrade slowly. Yeah, that's how it has been.
How's the journey? Because we're going to go slowly.
Yeah.
But like, how has the journey been? Because obviously I'm aware that, like, running a school now, it's a fully fledged, like, how many students does it have?
We have around 1,400.
So that's like a lot.
Yeah.
And that will be a big burden.
Yeah.
But then along the way also, because you're still learning along the way,
Yeah.
as you were saying. So what were the challenges? Some of the main challenges that you had?
Firstly, we started in a rented house. It was a small bungalow. By the second year, I had 40 students.
Okay.
And so I started looking for new
commercial space.
yeah.
Like
Then fortunately, a person came and asked me, would you like to rent the space? So I said, we would love to, just that maybe I will not be able to afford the rent. So this person was kind enough to say, no, we will make sure that the rent is not as exorbitant. So then they built the present town campus building that we have. They built it according to my specification. So I wanted big rooms, all that,
Yes.
And the student, so we shifted 2 years in the bungalow, we shifted to the main road, and it grew, and then we had to even take the house opposite.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, because it was just growing, and in that point of time, my husband and I, we decided like we need to buy our own land. But you know how it is.
Of course.
So expensive. So went and saw this land,
The present.
Naga United Village, and we didn't have the money. So very humbly, we went to my parents and we said, if you can, loan us. We have found a land for the school. So my parents willingly loaned us the money and we purchased the land. But in that process, it was too far then. Naga United.
Yeah, of course.
Now it
Yeah.
seems very near, but at that time it was very. Everyone was like, "Why so far? Why can't you find another land beside?" But and we don't have the money to. The resources
it's
not
not
there
easy.
to just
Right, just,
and really prayed about it. What should I do? And in that process of, so much of confusion. So much of uncertainty, not certain about anything. The land that we bought, I think the brother, the person's brother, he came and he told us, this is my piece and I want it back.
Not
And
selling
he,
it.
Yeah, and he gave us back the money. So now again, even more
Right.
So but then we still have some time. We still had some time in that town area with the two places.
Till which class was it that time?
I think
your
it was
school?
still class 3, like that.
Okay.
But we knew that we had to shift
Yeah.
soon. So when my highest class was in class 3, all these things were happening. So prayed, and then the land got taken away, but still didn't give up hope. And then also on top of that, people telling us that it's too far away. But in all this, I said, God, you need to guide me. I can't do it on my own. Then, how we go to the prayer warriors and all that, and they said, no, it's it's good. There's blessing in it. Don't fear. But I said, God, I don't want you, answering through them. I want you to answer to me. I want a direct answer from you. So while going through that, and the land got taken away, and then one fine morning, I'm not remembering which year it was or so, my husband, he said, I'm going up just to ask whether they can give us back that land. And all this while I've been praying for a sign. So he went up and he called me and he said, you know what, they're asking back the exact amount that they gave. So I told him, God has answered my prayer. We're building the school there. I'm not going to listen to anyone. We're going to build the school there. And the next month itself, we started the foundation. And that's how, and been very, a lot of struggles.
I'm sure struggles, like even financially, because with all the new infrastructure that you're starting. Which year did it complete, or were you able to shift your campus?
2015, we managed to build the ground floor.
Okay.
And the 2 buildings in town could not accommodate all those.
Right.
So 2015 we shifted for those who wanted to shift that side.
Okay.
So
all right.
The ground floor, then after that the first floor, second. We are still in the process of construction is still going on. So
okay. Yeah, it's. I mean, I can just imagine the financial implications it'll have also. Like, because at the end of the day, besides you being the principal and the administrator, you're also the owner.
Yeah.
So all that has to be, well managed and everything.
Yes.
So must be a headache, a big headache, because managing a school that is 1,400 students.
I mean, it's difficult. Thank God for financial institutes who give out loans, and also being very diligently reinvesting back. I mean, that's a major thing actually. So we have been able to,
right,
smooth flow.
That's a wise decision. I'm sure a lot of people do it, but just in case the audience aren't getting that, is that reinvesting is actually one of the smartest options, right? Instead
you
of
have to,
long. That's like long term. You're thinking for the long term instead of the short gains right now. We moved ahead, but I wanted to go back again also with when you were starting this. What was you wanted to start a school, you were starting a school and you were running it, but what was the vision behind the school? Like, what did you want to achieve through it? What was some of the things behind the dream?
Also at this point when I was starting the school, my eldest daughter was about to start her education.
Okay.
And somehow with the little knowledge that I had, I was not too happy with the education system.
Present here.
Present education system. So in my mind, I'm thinking I would not want rote learning. I would want it to be, no school is fun, but as fun as possible, and also make them independent individuals, not scared, but respect. So these were some of the things that I had in mind, while opening the school.
Right.
Yeah.
And the name Hope, where did that stem from?
Hope, actually, we have an educational society.
Okay.
My family. So we called it, it was one of those things where let's give a name. So we decided on White Hope Education Society. And then after that, while naming also, there also my sister played a big part. My younger
society.
sister. My younger sister. No, the naming of the school.
Okay, the school.
So we were toying with, why don't we just name it like White Hope? Then she said, no. Then we were discussing and said, okay, let's take away hope, white, and let's put it hope only. It has a hopeful, kind of positive.
Right.
So we named it Hope Academy.
That's actually a very, very nice name for a school. I like that.
In my life, if you ask me, it's not thoroughly thought out process that I have, and I have this great plan ahead of me. Nothing.
It just happened.
It just
the
happens.
flow.
It's just there, and I'm willing to just go along with the flow. And if you ask me, what are you going to do tomorrow? Maybe I would not even know. But if it comes, then I'm there.
That situation usually makes some of the best stories in life. Like when it just happens with the flow and not too much planning. I mean, planning is important, obviously, but not being too rigid in your plans and thinking of only one thing. Now with the present school situation, with the pandemic, obviously, we talked about it a little earlier, but in detail, because nightmare for both the school, the parents, the children, everyone involved. It was such a hectic situation. Talk to us a little bit about that, the experience of.
Okay, last year when the first shutdown happened, we thought it was happening for a month. Unfortunately, CBSE schools, we finished our session in April. month of
Okay,
April.
okay.
And I think the lockdown happened in April, May.
Yeah.
So that was our session end actually. So we had that relaxing time to actually not do anything about it, but
Right.
to think of something. But then it started, the
Getting
lockdowns,
worse and
getting, and so we decided like, okay, everyone's new to it. We didn't know what to do. Then, okay, let's start sending out WhatsApp classes through WhatsApp. So I really applaud my teachers in that, taking videos of themselves,
Right.
some exploring on YouTube, opening channels, and just making WhatsApp videos, sending it out. It was not easy.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
But and parents, I must thank the parents here. Good opportunity to thank parents for being so positive and supportive also. Everyone was new in it.
Right.
And the first year we managed just through WhatsApp, I think. We did not even have this online.
The Zooms and all
nothing.
that. Yeah,
We did not do Zoom, nothing.
Yeah. I think I remember a little bit of how some
schools did all that, but for us, we just decided, and parents were also very new to this.
Exactly. It was like a new thing for everyone.
Then we just decided to do it all through WhatsApp only. And I think towards December, like that, schools could open up a bit.
Yeah, at one point. Yeah.
So 50%. So we managed for the higher grade 6 and above, at least alternate classes started happening and all that. And somehow some kind of normalcy came in, and then again the
second wave
came.
Yes.
But this time I said, nothing doing, we're going live. And I think my teachers tell me that was the best decision that I ever made, because now everyone is well equipped, parents are well equipped, so it was a smooth flow. So we're still doing that now.
Right.
But a lot of learning had to take place, technology wise especially.
Yeah. Very hard times for everyone involved, because not just with the school, but just in life, in everyone in general, because this is something we never thought would happen in our lifetime, a pandemic of this magnitude. But a lot of stories about how parents were the ones struggling during the online, because it was them having to do everything, learn how to, figure out. Whereas most of the kids were having a good time because it was more like a holiday.
And now also, if you say we are studying in school, some of them are like, we don't want to go to school.
What are your biggest challenges right now in running? Like, just let's set aside the pandemic. If it's gone, it's more or less now slowly subsiding. But when it's normal, what are some of the biggest challenges in running a school of this size and reputation?
Well, if you have to ask me, normal comes back, then firstly it will be weaning away the children from their devices. That has taken a toll on all the children.
Right.
They're so addicted, every one of us, even us, so that is that. And coming back after almost 2 years, discipline issues, I'm sure it's going to be, they're so used to being home,
right,
just doing things on their own. Now you have to come back to that,
the routines and the schedules,
life and all that. That's going to be difficult. I think that's going to be like major problem for us. But it's always a challenge, and also balancing out things. A lot of, I'm not saying learning did not happen. Learning happened, but there's a gap, especially for the younger ones. There's a vacuum actually.
Right.
So we don't really know how much they've learned, but they've all been promoted to the next class.
Yes.
So that is going to trying to review back,
right,
trying to see how much a child has learned, and also at the same time keeping up with the current curriculum.
Yeah, that's one thing I actually felt quite strongly about, because like maybe some of the elder kids would understand the situation and would be managing to learn along with the whatever system is in place. But for the younger lot, they wouldn't be knowing what's going on. Online classes wouldn't mean nothing to them, and so while they are being passed on, like what are they actually missing out? Like you were saying, you worry about the gap in their learning.
Yes,
that was something that I was thinking a lot about.
This year when we opened, online, I had told all my teachers, be mindful of the fact that they did not attend class last year. So, don't expect children to know everything. So you have to go back. So I think first month was just kind of review, trying to figure out whether the children have learned, whether they know, and it's difficult actually. But I feel for the teachers as well as the students actually.
Yeah, everyone involved.
Yeah,
it's
everyone, and
be,
parents also. Everyone involved. Yeah.
With the recent unlock, a lot has been freed up. I think how in your school, what is the situation like?
See, we're allowed for 11-12.
Yeah.
So 11-12 smoothly with 50%. We're
alternate days.
Yeah, alternate days.
Yeah.
And recently we were allowed for class 5 and above.
Okay.
5 to 10.
Okay.
So we got an order just like yesterday.
Yeah,
just
recently came out. Yes.
So, but then after a week we're breaking for pujas.
Okay.
So we decided, okay, let's do it after pujas. So we're waiting for that.
As you're obviously the owner of the school, so from a business standpoint, like you said, you kept reinvesting, but maybe not just financially, but just your time also. What are some of the areas that you feel are key to invest in your school? Financially, resource-wise, time, everything, like the teachers, the infrastructures.
We have to give 100%. And me being the owner, I just can't say like, I'm investing and then I go out of it. I have to be involved in person. So till the time that I could manage, I was also teaching.
Okay.
Because I need to feel the pulse of what's going on. And if I sit in my cushy chair, I cannot do that. So I was also going into the classrooms to kind of feel the pulse. And I think apart from the monetary involvement, we have to be 100% involved. I think it has to do with any business.
Oh yeah, that I totally agree.
If you're leaving it to somebody else,
it's
not. It might go up, but there's going to be a dip. And never rest on your laurels. Never rest on, I have achieved.
Correct.
We should never rest for that. Just go and be 100% involved. Be passionate about it.
Always be hungry.
Yes,
right?
We have to always be.
So in your shout out, you mentioned the Keystone Education.
Yeah.
Talk to us, because I feel this is something that is people are not aware of, and we had this talk a little bit, but then like I want you to just go into a little more detail. Start with like what they are and how they function and all that first, and then we'll get into the issue of it.
See, the Keystone Education Society group, they are a group of people who cater to children with differently abled children. Yes. And maybe not just differently able, but children with challenges, educational challenges.
Right.
Before I even opened the school, I did not have any idea of this. But as the school kept growing, I found like some children are a little different than others. And we didn't know what to do with it. But now we can do something because they are trained in that. So we have partnered with them, and we have children with different needs. Some are dyslexic, some are autistic, some have learning of mathematics, and some have difficulty in reading. So, I mean, like, we are teachers, but we are not trained in that.
Exactly.
No matter how much we feel for this child, since we are not trained, we cannot, help this child. But these people, they are trained in that. So I'm so glad that they're here because we have, collaborated with them, and we have a few children in the school. So they are the ones who
look after these.
Who look after them. They do come to the normal classroom, but also, they have their special class.
They have their own physical space as well. Yeah.
So I've seen improvement in the children. And before they came, we also would recommend children who we thought had difficulty in learning to just go and assess themselves. This referral hospital, they have a section also.
Okay.
There's like children
difficulties in learning
difficulties and differently abled, so at least now families and educational institutions are becoming more aware of this.
Yes, exactly.
But also at the same time, some are getting aware, but especially parents, they're in denial.
Yes, this is something that's a little sensitive, but I think it has to be talked about more.
Yeah, so if my teachers feel that the student has some difficulty, they usually come to me and they say, "Ma'am, we may be wrong, but can you come and do observe?" So I'm not an expert, but because of my so many years dealing with children, I kind of have that.
Yeah, you can spot something.
So if that is done, then we call the parent and we say, like, we may be wrong, but it'll be nice if. So some parents take it very nicely. Some parents are offended, but I'm just doing my part. Because if I don't do that, the child will grow up frustrated.
Low self-esteem, everything.
So then it's a process, and now I'm so glad that we have a special, especially like, because according to the CBSE, we need to have special educators in the school, but we don't have many people who are trained in that field. But now Keystone Education is there, so I'm happy that they're there to help us.
I think that's a very important issue. That's it must have been much more or less the same back in our days, or even like way back, but obviously not talked about. And people were, I'm 100% sure, not even aware of half of these things back then. But now, even though the education, I mean, like, people are aware of it, they're not aware like, in the sense they need special help. Like, it can't just be
a student is not doing well and we just label they're not trying hard,
or they're dim,
nothing is in their head, kind of, we just like. But then, and also like reading, there are some students who really struggle with reading, and we just think that they're not trying hard enough, but they could have a problem. There are some students who are really bad with maths, but there is a disability for that also.
Just to cut you, I think these are the ones that need to be talked about more, and more awareness, because like the autism, the autistic kids, that's very easy to spot. Like anyone can sort of know that, but the smaller ones, dyslexia, exactly, those ones, it's
and
very hard
dysgraphia, where you understand but you cannot express it in writing. There's so many issues actually, but
I wasn't even aware of this.
I'm also learning now only, but we're sensitive to it, and I hope, like, more people become more aware and will become more sensitive to it.
I hope that like parents do understand that.
Because again, sorry to cut you, but in CBSE, at least we even have, like, if they are certified like special children, then there are a lot of relaxations. And we have cerebral palsy children also, so these can give with extra time. They even have where there's cerebral palsy, if they cannot write, they can dictate and they can be a scribe for them. And then we can read the questions to them. They given
oral,
all that is there. So it's good that opening up, like,
it's good that those facilities are there, provided by CBSE and whatnot. But on the other hand, the parents, they have to be a little more, I guess, aware about it. And like you said, some of them are in denial. I'm sure it might be out of fear also of what society will think of that stigma, like, stigma. My kid is like this, which I can totally relate to. But anyway, that is something that needs to be talked about more often. I'm not well versed in that area, but when you mentioned Keystone, I thought it was very important that we just talk about that a little bit. There's one thing I want to talk to you about, like, which is the government schools. Now, unfortunately, the situation of the shambles that it's in, whether it's infrastructure or just the system that's in place. What is your take on this, in the sense, what do you think should be done? Because business-wise, obviously, I mean, it's not your competition or anything, but but just as an educator, as a person who's in this field, and I'm sure you know about the situation, dire situation of how the government schools are in, and forget Dimapur and Kohima, which are very bad, but the ones in the far-flung interior areas must be in, I mean, I haven't seen them, but I can just only imagine how bad they must be. So what is something that you think that we should be doing about this, like trying to revamp? Like, I'm sure you've seen the government schools in Delhi, or at least the pictures of, like, the Aam Aadmi Party were pushing this agenda of, like, good schools, hospitals, etc. Maybe not to that level, but what do you think some of the things that are the things that we can do to go in the right direction with
Yeah,
government schools?
government schools, I don't know. Because, see, when you look at government schools, I believe that the government hires people who are, equipped. Because there are criteria. You have to be a graduate with a B.Ed, or a postgraduate with a B.Ed. It's compulsory. So
You're talking about teachers, right?
teachers. So when they are being recruited, those are the. So I always say that government schools have all the qualified teachers actually.
Yeah, they actually.
But where's the passion? I mean, I don't have an answer for that specific thing, but if you are going into the teaching job for your, because for teachers you need to be passionate, not so much the money. I feel, of course, the money is involved, the salary is there, but you have to be passionate about.
Do you think it plays a role that the establishment is also in such shambles that they're not even motivated to?
I just remember. I think it's the lack of ownership that has made it like that.
Right.
Like private schools, we may have the second layer. The first layer goes to the government because they're, the second layer, like they could not get into the government, so they apply to us, and then but why do they excel more? Why do these second layer teachers excel more than the first layer? It's because ownership is there. Like for me, at least, I'm there, and they have to perform. Government schools, who's the owner?
Accountability is not there.
There's no accountability.
Yes.
So unless there's something that the government make some very strict
policies,
take some strict measures, I think it'll be like this only.
Yeah, because you have to feel for the, I don't know the numbers, but the thousands and thousands of children who go to government schools. Sadly, some of them only because they can't afford any other school.
Yes.
But some for maybe in some areas, like I said, interiors, there might not be any other options also.
Yeah, I mean there is no option actually.
Yeah. So I don't know what to add, but it's just something that I wanted to talk about.
Without an owner, I think government teachers they have to take it upon themselves, like a mission kind of a thing.
What do you think about sort of semi-privatizing it, leasing it out, sort of,
I mean, when me and my friends or me and my family, we talk about the government schools, we always talk about this.
Okay.
Maybe there should be kind of like some partnership there.
Private-public partnership, the PPP, yes.
Yeah, like where the private party comes in and they are being paid by the government. But if there's a non-performing teacher, then the private party gets every right
authority to yes
kind of withhold the.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, withhold the salary or something like that. Not for my own gains, but for the public in general, for society in general.
Yes. Yeah. It's something that I just thought about because obviously you're coming onto the show and I wanted to talk about this, but I don't have anything substantial to add. But this is something that has to be.
I don't even have, but these are just thoughts that go through my mind, like.
And something that needs to be addressed also, because the numbers that are involved with, like the number of students that are involved and the amount of money that we're spending also, our taxpayers' money is going. So there should be something coming out of that, right? We should be. Okay, coming to sports now, because obviously I this is something that I'm involved in. So any topic or any guest that's there, I somehow managed to squeeze sports, music in.
Yeah.
And the school is one very crucial part, I feel, that where sports, development of sports and the arts, music can play a very vital role. And there are a few questions that I want to ask and just see and also hear about your vision, because I know that you guys at Hope also actively doing your own things with especially the music. And I want to start with just asking you, since you're an owner of a school, and I've said this before on the podcast also, is that I feel sports and music to a large extent are looked at more as just a side subject, and do you feel that is sort of stunting the potential of sports persons also, and the development of sports in general also? Do you feel like that? What is your take on this?
See, Asalie, in a way you're right. Okay, schools, we try to balance everything.
Right.
the academics, the music, the extracurricular, let's say. But at the end of the day, it's very sad, but it's the academics that speak.
Yes.
You know, a school is looked at by how many first division, how
The
many toppers you
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
you know, so, and then we have a curriculum, a syllabus to finish.
Yes.
And in that process, it gets sidelined. The sports and extracurricular,
Right.
it gets sidelined a lot. So maybe, like, you know, we don't see we kind of like suppress students
Yeah.
who are wanting to go for that.
Yeah, I just want to quickly just add here that, you know, like my wife's family and the whole entire family, they run the Vineyard School in Kohima. So shout out to Vineyard School. But I was talking with my sister-in-law, who's also the principal there, Lene, and I was just jokingly saying that it's not intended, or like this thing is not directed at people like you.
Yeah.
I understand the situation also that we're in, and like you said, the expectations of like the overall majority is like
Yes.
just of how many parents just want academic results.
Yes,
So I understand that there's so many different parts to it. It's not just that the school is trying to block sports or
Yeah.
anything like that, but I just feel if there's somehow it can be looked as, because sports, if you look at it from a broader perspective, it's like it's a huge industry in the
Yeah.
world. There's so much employability, like, you know, avenues and such. So if we can start creating inroads for that from the schooling level, I feel is
Yeah.
that is my point. Not about
Yeah.
like, you know, schools sidelining it because that's their agenda or anything like that. But yeah.
No, we definitely try to encourage. Okay, why I said, you know, our percentage. Everyone looks at a percentage. Supposing we have one or two students who are weak in, you know, usually it's like that. Those who are good in sports are somehow weak in studies. Like, you know, of course there are people who are good in sports as well as good in studies. But
Most cases,
if we allow them to go up, and now they're sitting for the board exams, we hope that they pass, then the percentage of the pass percentage or the percentage of the school goes down, and you know, the school mentally thinking like, oh, and people look at it like that. We don't
I totally understand that.
We
Yes,
don't look
I
at schools from the perspective of how smart are the children, what kind of are they.
that holistic growth, is it there?
We never look
it's
at
just that the
Yes.
marks, the
How many,
I
not even knowing whether they're going to
I
become
totally
good
understand
citizens.
that. Yeah.
We're trying to balance it, and hopefully there'll be a change somewhere. You know, and because I've tried it in the school. I had a boy who was very good in taekwondo,
okay.
and I had spoken to the
Parents.
parents. We will allow him to just, as long as he manages to get a few marks here and there, we will allow him to go. But then you know how it is, like after a certain point, if there's no participation from the other side also, then we have to take a call. So, you know, those kind of things are there also. And then sometimes when we look at a child who is good, we tell the parents that you know, maybe your child wants to do more of sports and less of the academics, and
Right.
parents don't listen.
Yeah.
They want just, and
Yeah.
who are we to interfere in
Exactly,
that, you know?
exactly.
So all that is there, and then the parents will be like, please don't encourage my child to be into music or sports. So then we also,
Which is very unfortunate.
Yes, very
but
unfortunate.
I totally understand that. That is the case with a lot of parents. It's changing. I
Yeah.
keep saying that it's changing, but it's still here.
yeah.
Like, you know, it's
But as we were discussing, you know, if there was a sports academy,
right.
you know, they concentrate in sports, but maybe affiliated with a school where they get their minimum
Educational requirements completed from.
then that would be interesting actually.
Yeah. This is one thing, like we had this small chit chat
Yeah.
that day about this, and I feel that schools can play such a big role because in regards to our state,
Yeah.
because as we all know, we have close to zero infrastructure for like sporting facilities, and schools to some extent at least have basketball courts
Yeah.
and it's being maintained, you know, a football ground and
Yeah.
such. So I feel that collaborations in whatever way, whether it's with our sports associations or with the department itself, or there can be certain tie-ups with schools, and like you said, whether it's an academy or, because I'm not sure if the audience are aware, but outside there are a lot of, for example, a football academy. Some of them have their own residential, their own school in itself, but most of them tie up with schools, private school. And they provide the training, and it's all done with the mutual consent with the school and the academy.
Maybe you should start one.
No, I don't.
Just do that.
There's so many dreams. I don't.
So that's one of your dreams. Maybe it could come out from here.
But I definitely feel that is one way we can work towards it, and another is like I'm with the Athletics Association, and I've at a meeting with the Department of Youth and Sports and Youth Resources. Something struck me was that a potential partnership, coalition, whatever, between an association, so a football association or the basketball or athletics association, can tie up with schools.
Yes.
And sort of primarily focus on that, like Hope could be known for football, and this school could be known for this sport. And so there are some ways we can work around it, but I guess it's not easy because, like we were discussing, there's so many factors involved, right? Like especially with the parents, unfortunately. And with music, you told me about that, which I really love. That what was it called? The
Melo Mania.
Melo Mania.
Yeah.
And just tell us about it a little bit.
We started it 2 years back. It's a inter-school rock beat contest, actually. With that in mind, we started, and the first one went very well, but unfortunately the pandemic happened
the next year.
So last year we could not have. We just had an in-house Melo Mania among the students, where everything was submitted online, and this year we don't want it to die down. So this year also, in fact, I think by the time our advertisement should come out, we are having an all Dimapur schools solo competition.
Okay.
So
singing, right?
Yeah, singing competition. And then hopefully, if the situation is good, we will have the finale, not online, but
live,
offline.
Live,
live.
When is that likely to be? If it does,
we are hoping for December.
Okay.
Sometime second week.
Yes.
We always have our function in December, and it always clashes with the Hornbill. And this year also it might happen.
By the way, Hornbill is
we have to really think on that before we finalize on a date.
Right.
But that's something to look forward to, because as you said, we Nagas are very talented actually, and music is one of them.
Yes, definitely.
And we just want to, and it's a kind of, it helps children grow. The confidence level comes up. Competition is also important.
Right.
So that's a way.
I just when you mentioned this, I quickly want to add something about the benefits of an like an active sports program that's running in your school. There's so many benefits that a lot of people don't understand, especially parents or like just the layman might not understand that it does help with. Actually, it does help with the academics also of the students. With leadership roles.
Very much. It kind of, all round.
Yeah. That holistic growth is, And with sports, like cooperation, socializing because you play with younger people, elder people, and you're in a team sport.
It's
usually
like kind of building them up for the future, leadership skills.
Yeah. And I'm sure I read somewhere that, I'm pretty sure I read that studies have been done that people who are properly, and like in a disciplined way, like following a sports sort of career in school, have shown to be successful later in life, even though sports was not what they ended up doing. Because those like discipline and leadership qualities were instilled in them from that age. So that's just another point for me pushing my agenda. But
not just sports.
Music and
other activities
arts,
also.
Exactly. On this will make a good segue into the next topic that I want to talk about, which is fitness.
Okay.
And you are a very big time enthusiast with like the fitness. Tell us how it started.
Well, how do I where do I start?
Because you said you were always not, you were totally not like this when you were in
I was an
school. Right.
overweight
You were saying that,
child,
right?
and I tell everyone that can you believe that my waistline was 30 something when I was in class 5, and I was called fat. It kind of got into the
100%.
thing, and I kind of I think took that as a challenge. It did not depress me so much to start working out. So I remember doing a little bit of aerobics, this, that, in younger days, college days and all that, and in and out, trying to keep myself fit. But the fitness thing happened just a few years back.
Very recently, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in and out of gyms, this, that. But last year, that's when I went.
The story about, yeah.
That's when I really got into running. And I kind of, got into that whole flow of fitness and running.
That's where Sauce Space started.
My
last
Instagram,
year, right?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah. So we'll put that up also.
Yeah.
So it's a place where you sort of just just tell us about it, like
Sauce
how.
Space actually, when I decided to, say like nothing doing, I'm going to
get
take
on
hold
that.
of my fitness thing. I decided to open an Instagram account. Not for anything, but for accountability.
Right.
Because I was starting something called the 75 Hard, where you exercise non-stop. I mean, like every day, even on a Sunday.
No break.
75 days.
Okay.
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
One indoors, one outdoors.
How rigorous was this? Like.
Oh, it was. I mean, like 45 minutes each. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's not easy.
Not so easy, but not.
Yeah, not important. Yeah.
So I started and I decided I will open this Instagram just for that. So that I will keep myself accountable.
Right.
So every day I updated. Day 1, day 2. And keeping in mind, like, that's how it happened. And then now the Sauce Space is there. Just to motivate myself as well as motivate others. That just to keep fit because it's so important.
Right. This is, I think we discussed this also, but I feel that Nagas have picked up on this trend.
Yes, very much.
I can call it a trend, I guess, because and we've seen a lot of people starting to get into cycling, running, gymming, and maybe some of it is because of like it being a trend or fashionable, but at least it's picking up the trend, and that we need to be a little more healthy in
very much
the way we live, right?
Because our food habits.
Yeah, our food habits is one of the worst, I guess.
Yeah.
Like so at least if we can.
I mean, like for me, when I sometimes I slack. Sometimes I go through the process of what am I even doing? Right? Like every day, like but then I think of who knows what God has in store for you 5 years from now, 6 years from now.
Right.
God's plans are big, and if I'm not physically ready for
Able,
it,
yes,
then it's of no use. So I keep that in mind, and I motivate myself, and I just go ahead.
I think it's very commendable that you are you're able to do this and you do it passionately.
Yeah.
And then that you're very fit, and I've seen a lot of elder folk also now, like that they're taking this seriously, and it's a good sign, not just for the young people, because they're naturally fit to a certain extent, right? But I guess as we grow older, I think it's very important to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
right?
because the food habits that we have.
How are your food habits, by the way?
I try to keep a check of everything.
Okay.
I have experimented with many kinds of diets. The keto diet, the what's that? Intermittent fasting.
Okay.
And all that, like the Daniel fast, all that. So, but just keeping a check. Because I realized that if I eat too much rice, then it has a toll on me. So, discipline.
Yeah. So it's not like a strict
diet
regime or anything, but just keeping check on it.
Yeah,
and
don't go. Of course, I do treat myself, but don't go overboard. On all the pork and all the all the beef and all the deep fried stuff, which is the tastiest, of course. But we have to keep a check on all that.
Our food habits are one of the worst if you actually look at it. And for me, being
Tastiest also,
yeah,
but-
tastiest also,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Shout out Naga food. But
Yeah.
me, I've been like thin person my whole
Yeah.
life also. So I never had that sort of motivation to go work out because
Yeah.
because I was always thin. But then growing, I mean, I'm not old yet, but like, growing older,
Yeah.
I look at my food habits, and that's something that I need to be more disciplined in. That's how I look at
Growing
it. Like,
older,
Yeah.
your metabolism starts slowing down.
mine
So
sounds-
then you
mine
have
doesn't
to,
seem to, yeah.
as you grow older,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So that's where, that's why we need to start early, so that it's of course it's good if you can start taking care of yourself after,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
why go to that
Level and then
level
make it so
and then,
hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
So take care of yourself from
Yeah,
now.
but definitely, like,
Yeah.
I mean, food is something that I know, like, my weakness lies
Yeah.
there, and that's something I need to, more than like the gym for me,
Yeah.
in my case. Yeah.
For me, it's the gym was there, but running, I took it as a challenge actually. So just wanted to see how far I can go. So that's how I joined the Independence Day run last year.
Okay.
That's the first virtual run, and the best part about pandemic and whatever, everything is virtual. So you just clock yourself, send in through the app,
Okay,
how many the
Right,
routes,
right.
everything, so that you're not cheating. So I did my first run, 5-kilometer run. Then after that, we did the Fit India Movement run, all 5 kilometers, of course. Then my church had a small marathon. There also 5 kilometers, so I ran there also. Then the International Daughters Day run, the World Heart Day. Yeah, that one I was
Yeah,
forgetting.
that's
Then
second one.
Yesterday's one was the Global
Blogging.
Blogging Day, and tomorrow we have the
World Animal Day. Yeah. So this tomorrow's run is gonna conclude the Big
Yes,
Slam
yeah,
challenge,
Big
right?
Slam, yeah.
And I have another challenge for you actually,
Yeah.
and this coincides with just yesterday I went up to Koima for this
Okay.
meeting with the Athletics Association, and we are going to be hosting the the first national athletics event in Nagaland, and it's the cross country championship, the 56th national cross country championship.
Okay.
So it's going to be held in January, and
Oh my
no,
goodness.
but what we are doing this is like sort of advertising my thing, but yeah. Anyway, what we're doing is like we're going to be having different categories also.
Okay.
We have the under 16, under 18s, the senior men and
okay.
women. Then we have like the seniors and to sort of encourage, you are actively involved, but people who are not so doing it on a regular basis, just to encourage them to participate.
Yeah.
We'll be giving out lots of certificates and
Okay.
participation certificates. There will be prize money different categories also. So
Okay.
we just want people to feel like, and it's going to be a national event, so it's a big thing for Nagaland. So I'm very happy. But that's a challenge I want
Yeah. Okay. I hope I'm still
try and do it. I've told
actively-
I've
Yeah.
mentioned this to a few friends who do a lot
there
of running.
are a lot of runners in Nagaland now.
Yeah.
Some doing professionally also.
Professionally,
Like, they go to
can you name
Gaudi.
names? Do you know anyone like off the
See, I know of one guy called Nathe.
Nathe?
We sponsored him actually.
Oh, okay.
Like the school, Hope Academy.
Okay.
He went to Shillong. I think they had the Shillong that
Marathon?
was before the pandemic. And then even the Guwahati run. I think he won something. But after that, the thing,
The pandemic
happened. So we do have quite a few.
Yeah, I've seen like not in a competitive way also, but like a lot of my friends who are like actively running, they're running lots, like much more than what it's going to be. Just 10 kilometers for the senior,
Okay.
and then for the younger and for the elders is going to be.
There are a lot of younger ones, so make it it'll be too competitive if you make it only 10 kilometers for the younger ones.
10 kilometers is for
They'll
the
finish it in no time.
seniors, like the
Yeah.
men's and women's, and for the younger ones will be a little less, the elder ones a little less. But
Okay.
I've been telling some of my friends who are running, not
Yeah.
competitively, but they're just running as a
Yeah.
passion, to just join this, and
Yes,
it's going to be a nice event. So
And the experience.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
like
On national level.
I mean, like, okay, winning is another thing,
Yeah.
but just we make our life interesting by all
yeah,
these
exactly.
things.
I think it'll be a very unique
Yeah.
experience. I'm going to be having so much fun just being a part of this. But I think for
Yeah.
those who participate, running with, we're hoping to get maybe even international runners. That
Yeah.
is not sure or anything, but
Somebody asked me, why are you running? So I said, why? I'm just trying to make my life interesting. Otherwise, life is quite boring. I mean, you're doing your own thing,
right,
you know,
right.
some extra masala in it.
Yeah.
So that running was one of the masalas.
That when you're talking about this, I want to now talk about the juggling of like what you do. So you like, I have one son who's 4 years old. So he was a handful. Now he's like becoming a little easier. But you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Who are all grown up. You full-time running a school.
Yes.
You're very big-time enthusiast with your fitness. How do you juggle this?
Well, first thing, you need lots of help. Without that, I don't think.
Right. A good support system.
Yeah, good support system is very important.
Right.
I think it's more about prioritizing, delegating, you know, and just also seeking for help. Like for me, when I first started the school,
right.
I had my sister, my mother, who was helping me a lot, and I had a very good person with me, you know, to just take care of my children and everything. Without them, I don't think the school would have gone off in any way.
I can understand.
And as the years went by, I still ask my mom, my sister, you know, and friends for help if I need help, because without them, you know, it's not going to run. And also, I think being open, because for my children now, they're grown up. The eldest one is going to turn 18 soon. The youngest is 13. So they're in that age where, but right from a young age, I explained to them everything. I'm doing this. I'm going out for this. Is it okay? Are you fine? You know, that open communication was there with my children right from small. And I literally took them for all my work actually. So they could see like, and in my mind, I would think like, okay, this is a time for me, for them to see firsthand what I'm doing.
Right.
So like, you know, by experience, like, you know, not just me telling them and they not seeing what I'm doing. So it's been like that. Very, I don't think there's any rule book to be a working mother.
Right. Yeah, this is coming along perfectly with what I wanted to ask, like the working mother role, you know? Yeah.
So it's just
learn as you go along, sort of.
Yeah, there's no rule book. Just making sure that we prioritize everything. So I'm very mindful of what I choose to do.
Yes.
Like we live in a very, you know, a society is like where they demand a lot from you. And in the beginning, I had problems. I could not say no.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of society
I
things are
get it,
right?
yeah. Obligations
but then,
here.
Yes.
Yes.
But then I decided no. I need to put a stop to it. So I'm very mindful about what I say yes to. Like, you know, it's speaking engagements especially. Like, you know, if they catch you on, then many people will ask you to speak in church or any other activities, but
I know, podcast.
I have to say no. Because I cannot juggle too many things.
Yes.
And when I do that, I might neglect my family.
Whether it's your family or your school also.
So my priorities is very, you know, there. Right. It's my children, my home, my school, my fitness. That I cannot compromise. So and of course the church is there. So I, you know,
it revolves around those.
It revolves around that, and even friend circle is very small. And,
it's nice. It's nicer that way actually.
Yeah, and then quality
over
that's
quantity.
Quality over quantity, and prioritizing everything. And then also delegation.
This you repeated this 2-3 times, and this is something that I believe in also, is like priorities.
Yeah.
And I keep saying like it's throughout life we have to keep sort of reassessing what we're spending our time on, our resources on, and whether, you know, it's worth it. And know what the priority list is in your life, your personal life. Everyone's going to be different, but know where it is. Your family, career, and whatever it may be, in what order. I think that's important.
So important. Otherwise we can be doing too many things,
neglecting
not achieving much.
That's also there.
There's a lot of quantity but no quality. It could turn out that way, you know. So
I sort of have a problem with that because in the sense there's so many things that I want to do, and sometimes I get confused.
Yeah.
Whether like the thing is, go after your dreams.
Yeah.
That's like the
Yeah.
old adage, right? But then like, how many dreams also is
Yes,
there? Like you
yeah.
have to ask yourself.
I mean, for me also, I still have dreams, but sometimes, through this we learn patience. Like, we can't do everything at one go.
Right.
But keep your dreams alive. Look at me trying to tell you things.
Yeah, it's
Keep
nice.
your dreams alive, but because when we do everything at one go, sometimes
Yeah,
it could
definitely.
go wrong also.
You
I
were-
still have dreams.
That's nice. Can you
Yeah.
share some?
Yeah. No, like, the school is there.
Yeah,
I would definitely want to branch out.
Okay.
And that academy, that sports
Yeah,
academy was one thing that
You have to make that happen
I have
somehow.
been thinking that I should do it. But we need resources.
Of course, that is
And we need, for a sports academy, we need land.
yeah.
I wish somebody would just come and say, here, do it here.
Yeah. And then comes the infrastructure and
Yeah,
whatnot.
so many things
it's
are
not
there.
easy.
Like,
Obviously, it's not easy.
So the dream is there. And hopefully it'll take off one day.
Yeah,
And
When we were talking about this, like the priorities and all, you mentioned the strong support system, which is very important, right?
Yes, yeah.
In life, everyone needs to have that support system, emotional, whatever way it is, professional. You told me about the sisterhood.
Yeah.
The sisterhood that you have, and how an important role you've touched on it a little bit
Yeah.
about your school also, but just in life in general, tell us what that's all about. Like you said, you wanted to touch on this.
Yeah. So it's about, women supporting women. We're all sisters.
Right.
And for me, I will just cite my example. My sister saw in me something that I did not see. Sometimes other people see
Yeah.
what we have and we don't see it
The
ourselves.
potential,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
So that was that. She was the one who encouraged me. And when that started happening, my mother, woman, she was the one who backed me all the way. Stitching the curtains, the bags, I mean, like everything.
Right.
There's a process. Now we just order. But that time, it was like
Hands-on,
hard work.
yeah, everything, yes.
And then after that, when I needed advice, how should I do it? My friend was there, who advised me, like, do this, do that. And then after I thought of the idea, I needed a space. Another friend was there who actually went out of her way to search for me.
Okay.
So, and then, these supports were there. And then my children were all very small. I mean, like, my son was 1.5 years when I started the school. So, I needed somebody to take care. My eldest sister came in. So now also, it's always like that. We support each other because we understand each other. And sometimes we women also have a tendency of, we can really pull down each other also. But we get nowhere with that. So I feel like, when a woman supports women, we are successful. And it could be just a word. I could be supporting a woman just with a word, but that word could
Will mean so much more.
Have a life impact.
Yes, life
So
altering.
and it'll always be like that. For me, I feel I'm surrounded by very strong women and my dear friends who are there, like to
family and
support
friends,
me.
everyone,
Who
yes.
just encouraging me and upholding me, and just there to listen to my woes sometimes. And all that is there.
That's
so
nice.
I feel like we women are a strong lot, and we need to keep supporting each other.
Even the guys, even the guys need to do this also, because this thing that what you talked about, that negativity tends to be there sometimes. It's not sometimes. It's actually too often.
Yes. Yeah.
And we as a society, also as individuals, also I think. My show, I try to preach that positivity.
Yes.
Like, let's all win. Like, of course, there's competition in life, but like let's not drag each other down.
Compete
Like,
against each other to become better.
better, right?
Not to pull down each other. Huh?
Exactly. There's enough for everyone.
Yeah.
You mentioned like your children are all grown up now.
Yeah.
And you told me just before we started that, like, they're not gonna watch this
Oh
because
yeah, they said cringe moment. They're not going to watch. They gave me lots of. Now they're going to.
Can you just share a little bit? I mean, to what extent you can share, that's up to you. But about like what because now they are at the stage when they're sort of deciding where they want to go,
Yeah.
like in careers and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you just share with maybe 1-2 examples?
No, daughter, she's in 12th.
The eldest,
Yeah,
okay.
eldest. And then my son is in 10th. And the youngest one is in 7th. So I've always been very open with them. Always shared my thoughts with them. And that way we have a very good relationship. We are like friends sometimes also. But I tell them, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother. You know, so I try not to impose my, you know, what I want
The
from them. But
dreams
I
on them,
always
yeah.
tell them, like, you know, do whatever you want. You know, you have to find out what you want inside,
Right.
your passion. Then only you have to, you know. So, and I tell them, it's okay if you're undecided. You know, who knew that I was going to open a school?
Right.
I never knew. But if you are diligent, if you are, you know, true to yourself, if you're walking the right path, somehow it all falls in line. You know, so I tell them that every day. And they are my biggest cheerleaders because
That's nice.
when I'm down, in fact, they give me advice. Sometimes children give the best advice.
Yeah, I've
Yeah, they
noticed.
give the best advice, and some instances I know they're going to not like that I'm mentioning this, but they have also, you know, told me that Ucha, they call me Ucha. Ucha, if you're a man, you'd make the best father in the world. So I'm like, what more can I ask? And when I'm down, my son said, Ucha, you're not a superhero. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to feel down.
That's nice.
You know, you feel good that time.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
nice,
so
yeah.
I hope I'm in the right path, bringing them up. You know, I just tell them, you put God first in your life and do what you love. Do what you love, and the world will just have a place for you.
That's very beautiful what you
Yeah.
just shared, and I feel this is something that actually lacks in a lot of Naga homes, is the communication between the
Yeah.
parent and the child. Back then, I think it was almost non-existent.
yes,
like yeah.
non-existent.
But even nowadays, it's still not as open as like the way you shared what you were like, the relationship that you have with your kids, and that's how I want it to be for my
Yes.
son when he grows older, and
Yeah.
if we do have more children, that open communication and always be open about
Yeah.
everything, and that's really nice.
In fact, when you asked me first, I told my children,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what?
about
I've been asked, but I don't know what to do. You know, should I?
okay.
So my sons were like, Ucha, when are you doing it? So I'm wondering whether I should do it or not. So why not? You have a story to tell. Oh, like, you know, you must do it.
Shout out to the
you must do it, like, you know, and like
for getting your mom.
they're proud, and they always, you know, the middle one especially, say, I don't know if I'm going to be as successful as you, but so, you know, their role model. I mean, it's good that we
That's
are
so
their
nice.
role models first.
That's so nice.
Like, you know, they look up to you first before they look up to others. So, you know, that is the relationship that me and my children have. Yeah.
That's such a nice. Actually, that's a perfect way to end this episode of the Shoutout podcast. Is as parents, a lot of the audience are young parents actually,
Yeah.
like, you know, so as parents, like, if we are their role models first, then that's like a sign that we're doing well in life, and
Yeah.
we're raising them right, or we're doing right by ourselves,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
Okay. So on that note, it was such a great conversation. I totally enjoyed this, but we're gonna do the message, so I'll let you go. First is you know, the family. Yeah. Then friends. Especially someone you've lost touch with.
Okay.
That is like the best one.
Yeah.
And finally, of course, Nagas in general.
Okay, yeah.
So you can.
Before that,
Yeah.
thank you, Asalie, for having me here.
My pleasure. The
Yeah,
pleasure
thank
was
you
all
so
mine.
much.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed. the
Thank you so much for
conversation.
coming on. I
Yeah.
mean, shout out to your sons who
Yeah.
convinced you, because like you
Yeah.
were saying, you told me that you were not sure.
Yeah.
After I messaged you, and you were saying, I'll just leave it
Yeah.
until if he doesn't call
If
back,
he doesn't
or
call back, I'm not doing it. Yeah.
So thank God it happened.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Take your time.
okay.
Messages. Yes.
Message, okay. To my family, you all know, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for, you know, going out of your way to always be there for me when I need you. You know that I love you all. You know, just continue to support. And also to my friends, not that I have too many friends, but my school friends and those I've gotten to know after I opened the school. I'm sorry if I don't really keep in touch, but let's try to keep in touch. I'll make an effort from now. Yeah, and to the Nagas in general, as an educator, I would like to just address parents. Let's try to I don't know how to put this. Let's not impose our unfulfilled dreams on our children, but let's allow our children to grow on their own, especially when it comes to career and all that. Let's not impose upon them, but let's help them to discover themselves. I think that's very important, to help our children discover themselves, and let's mentor them and guide them in the right way. That is very important, because the world is growing and it is not narrow anymore. The world is for them, for our children, and let's not narrow it for them, and let them live according to how we want only. And to the other general people, I just want to say, hard work pays. If you work hard, if you're passionate about what you do, if you're consistent, success will follow you. Thank you.
Nice message. I love that part about the aspirations. Don't let that your unfulfilled dreams be
how I
because
I messed it up a bit.
No, it came out great. And once again, thank you so much being an inspiration, and it was a joy to have you on this podcast.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.